All right. We are live. We are live. We are live. Good morning. This is October 13th, 2024. I am the Abundant Alchemist. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Today, I just want to go over some notes I've been taking, what's going on in the crypto space. It's going to be scattered amongst some of the information I have here is review on an interview that Quincy Jones, developer of Zinfin Network XDC, did a couple of years ago, which is still chock full of information that's relevant today, as we are very early in this digital asset space and everything is developing. Also want to tie in what's going on with the Ripple case. So I'm going to just dive right in and source where I'm getting this information from so you can check it yourself. Um, XRP in 2021 was at about 60 cents. We've been ranging between, somewhere in that range and 50 cents. It's been a tight chart, which is indicative of sort of coil action that can explode, right? We seem to have extreme support at the 40 to 50 range, and it's just coiling. If you take a look at the chart, it's pretty much forming a triangle, symmetrical triangle, which is indicative in technical analysis that there is a big move pending. Maddie GTV did an interview with Quincy Jones, and at that point of October, excuse me, when I was watching the interview, October 6th, 2024, the XRP price was at 53. We've stayed pretty much in that range over the last couple of days. Very notable dots of information is that 85% of Italian banks right now use Corda to exchange interbank data transfers. That's per CoinDesk. And why is that information important? Because Corda is tied in to this system, which is being used for bank data transfers. And Ripple is heavily involved with R3 Corda. They used to be partnered in 2020, R3 and Ripple. They went to court to split themselves. R3 had options contracts to XRP. So that was part of the reason why this whole case with R3 and Ripple happened. Believe that they're still working together. And so banks in Italy used R3 Corda and are using R3 Corda blockchain to speed the process of double checking transaction logs. Bank of NY Mellon has been partnered with Ripple for years. It's another data point. And why is that important? Because Bank of NY Mellon provides global financial services. BNY Mellon is an investment company that helps with investment management and services to help individuals and institutions to invest, conduct business, and transact in markets worldwide. Again, they're partnered with Ripple, and they provide financial services worldwide. Who owns Bank of NY Mellon? Well, Vanguard Group, BlackRock are two notable names. Also, State Street Corp, Dodge and Cox, Vanguard 500 Index Fund Investor Shares. As of September 16th, 2024, they are providing an alts bridge, which gives services solutions to meet growing demand from wealth intermediaries looking to access alternative private market investment products. What are alternative market investment products? Private alternative market investment products. As many of you are aware, Ripple is a private company, soon to become public and provide the initial public offering IPO on the stock market. And so besides Ripple being a private market investment product, so is XLM, so are many digital assets such as Ethereum, XDC, XRPL, Algorand. And the reason why that's important to mention is because Corda is the hub of this new structure, right? Which will issue assets, fiat, debt, stocks, bonds, even property on XDC, Zinfin, which is what I'm going to tie into the Quincy Jones interview and what he's saying about Ripple and XRP. Contracts, so real estate, legal matters, they're all going to be tokenized, all going to be placed on the blockchain. And it's not speculation. This is actually coming from the horse's mouth. BlackRock, which is the largest asset holder in real estate and many other things. Now it's become one of the largest holders of Bitcoin. So segueing into the Quincy Jones interview, BitTrue, which is built on XRPL, it's used to list assets, is something that Quincy Jones stated as himself using. It's, in his words, a huge opportunity because there is a lack of liquidity. So he goes in to explain how he's using the XRPL to sort of arbitrage and make money. And it doesn't matter if the margin is slim, it could be 1 penny, but because it's so cheap to transact on XRP, being 12 drops, there's 1 million drops within 1 XRP, which right now is valued at 50 something cents. 12 drops out of 1 million is the cost for one transaction. So liquidity tokens like XRP and XLM will be passed around as cash, which is typical money. And these are special, as opposed to smart contract platforms like Algorand and XDC, which, again, Quincy Jones is the developer of. XRP will be used more like cash. Smart contracts will be held to run smart contracts on the Corda platform. It's going to have that utility value, smart contracts. So you, as somebody who will, in a company or as a private individual, be running and utilizing these smart contracts, you'll want to hold smart contract tokens for that utility case, use case. In the manner of transacting, you will want to hold XRP and XLM. XRP will be used in the private structures for banks. It's a closed ledger, privacy, much like the banking system now. XLM will be used more in the public sector, much like Venmo is used to transfer, or Zelle if you have Zelle on with your bank, right? And all this will be done in the background. Users on their interface won't see the difference. They won't know that the switch has been made onto this new platform, which will help the institutions or companies utilizing this new infrastructure, this new system of making things more secure, of making things quicker, and much more profitable for these companies. One important and notable quote from Quincy is, he says, "I value the world in terms of XRP and gold." He states, as a programmer and developer, he notes the horrible setup of the US dollar system, banking system, mechanism, and how, as a developer, he sees the manner of where everything is set up, where it could be valuable and pro holders of that digital asset, or detrimental, depending on how the system has been set up. And apparently, I mean, you don't have to be a developer to know, once you understand the banking system, the Fed, how it's a game where ultimately the holders in dollars lose. Why? For example, how he states it is, I'm a bank. I encourage depositors to put money into the bank that I hold. What I will do is turn around, take those deposits, purchase assets that outperform the interest rate that I am enticing depositors to make those deposits. So ultimately, you deposit money which is losing value, get a return at a lower rate than that which the bank is utilizing to earn higher rates. And the kicker is that banks pretty much just they don't lend you anything. There is no money. It's all just created out of thin air. And you could look into that for yourself on how the banking system is set up. And the word for that is, it escapes me, but it's pretty much a structure where they multiply tenfold your initial deposit. He says the way to capitalize on the XRP ledger is, the decentralized exchange is, you look for an liquid market to arbitrage, and you could trade on both sides because it's so cheap to transact with the XRP drops. Again, 12 drops for one transaction. There's a million drops in one XRP is extremely cheap in order to place bets on both sides and ultimately take profit on the one that is clearly the momentum, the way. That's how I believe that the algo is set up. He's using a trading bot, which will make you money while you sleep. Every transaction is so cheap. One XRP equals 1 million drops. Every transaction is only 12 drops. You pretty much have guaranteed profits, no matter the size of profit margin. You could set many trades with a trading bot. Nelson Nash, the writer of a book on how to self-bank, which I'm going to be reading pretty soon on vacation, he reiterates the sentiment of Quincy Jones, where it's the biggest scam. You could just write a bunch of numbers on a computer as a banker, loan it out, and the depositor then, the lender, the person taking out the loan, not the lender, then pays an interest on that imaginary money. Quincy Jones says you get the short end of the stick. The banks tell you to put money in the bank and save it. They buy assets, get rich as money loses value. You pay back a cheaper dollar while they gain assets of value. So banking is moving into private digital currencies. I'll get more into that in a little bit. XLM, more like Venmo. There's a consensus algorithm that operates every 5 seconds on the XRP ledger. So it checks all transactions that are occurring every 5 seconds, while transactions take only 3 seconds to occur. So by the time that transaction is done, I send you money. The consensus mechanism has already halfway verified the entire ledger to ensure that all accounts are true, right? The reason why XRP is so valuable to banks is because XRP needs rights to accounts. In issuing the token rights and accepting token rights, it's a private chain which will create privacy and security for those structures needing it most, which are banks. It makes it impossible to steal or hack money. The moment that you attempt somehow to steal money from one account to another under this XRP ledger, the bank will see exactly what just happened. And it's pretty ridiculous to attempt to even do that under such a structure. XRP will be on the back end with bank settlements for cross-border and domestic remittances. Now, the thing that's so crazy about that is people think that XRP will go up in value mostly because of cross-border settlements, but you also have to think about the domestic settlements within just one country. Let's say the United States, which right now is behind developments when you compare the United States to other countries. But let's say that, just think about all of the settlements that are taking place within one bank, Citibank, right? Now, Citibank has to settle throughout the United States. Now, think about also Citibank settling some overnight loans from Chase or another bank in order to comply with regulations, because they need a certain amount of liquid dollars in order to comply with regulations. So what banks will often do is loan money from, it's interbank lending overnight to comply with those regulations. So that's happening at a monumental rate daily. So that's just one use case for XRP. Quincy Jones also, he goes into something very interesting, saying that the cost of power of Bitcoin is unsustainable at 10% due to the increasing cost of electricity. Now, I don't know if that'll be applicable in the future as new technologies for harvesting electricity come to light, but that's his opinion from his understanding at the moment during that interview. And what I know is the Bitcoin ETF, does that mean loss of control for the Bitcoin community for what Bitcoin was intended for, right? Because now you have large institutions like BlackRock pretty much taking over, and they can manipulate the market via ETFs, much like they've done with gold and silver, because of institutions holding not physical, but paper representations of that asset, allowing them to manipulate the markets. And the notable difference that I see with an XRP ETF launching is because XRP's initial intent is very different from Bitcoin's initial mission. The XRP ETF to me means people will want to invest in that system. Yes, people will want to invest in Bitcoin because they're seeing that the price is going up. But many of those investors lack the understanding of the white paper for Bitcoin and its original intended use. While XRP, being a new banking system and people and institutions investing in the ETF or XRP, derives a different meaning in my point of view. The price of XRP is dependent on assets, the debt on the ledger. US will sell bonds and debt on the XRP ledger. And that's huge because, again, nobody can really tell you what the price of XRP will be. It's all dependent on all the value that's going on to that blockchain. All I know for sure is that XRP is intrinsically a valuable technology. What I don't know is the magnitude. I know it's going to be big. I just don't know the extent to the magnitude. And now on Twitter, this is why I'm on X, because of all the information that these deep divers uncover. And all that information is there for anybody to look up if you're looking. The problem is that many of us, are working oftentimes overtime. We're bogged down by our daily tasks. We don't have the time to do those deep dives. So I appreciate Smoke Dog. You can follow him, SMQKEDQG on X. He was posting on how stablecoin regulations are in place in many countries throughout the world. Further showing and proving that stablecoins and CBDCs are steps away. And in many cases, they're already in place, such as the Bahamas, Switzerland, UAE, Cayman Islands, the EU, Japan. It's been initiated already in Australia. It's pending here in the US, pending in the UK, pending in Canada, pending in Singapore, pending in South Africa. They're already taking steps towards it. Global regulatory clarity is coming, which will pretty much set the stage for its use. JP Morgan has stated that stablecoin bill here in the US will likely be approved pre-US presidential election, which poses Tether stablecoin dominance threat. And we're seeing this already in Europe as it's cracking down on USDT, and Coinbase in Europe delisted USDT, which is a stable coin. It's the coin that you use to take profits into, or when you transfer money into an exchange, you use a stable coin, which is a representation of the dollar, to then purchase the digital asset you wish to purchase, whether it be XRP, XLM, XDC, Chainlink, Dogecoin, whatever it may be. And the reason why this stable coin tether dominance threat is important is because what is Ripple developing currently? RLUSD, the real USD stable coin. In Europe, MiCA is Markets and Crypto Assets Regulations. Very important to note when you hear MiCA, that's what it stands for, Markets and Crypto Assets Regulations, which have been set forth. And this is what's causing Europe to crack down on USDT. And why is that important? Because USDT is one of the largest holders of US Treasuries. So if USDT goes down, it's a big hit for the US dollar, because what's holding up the US dollar is US Treasuries. The BRICS nations uniting and deciding to not hold US Treasuries right now is hurting the dollar. USDT as a stable coin, in order to back it, is hoarding and purchasing USDT, US Treasuries. But if USDT goes down, it's going to be a big hit to the dollar. Now, who can replace USDT? The Ripple stablecoin, RLUSD. This is my theory on what's happening as far as the dollar. The dollar, yes, it seems like it's going to crash, but they're not going to let it crash. Ripple will be the dollar's savior. FedNow in 2023 launched to enhance international appeal. The New York Fed is participating along with the Bank of Japan, and 4 other central banks in Project Agora. You have to pay attention to that and what that means. Project Agora is working with the Bank of International Settlements. The Bank of International Settlements provides financial stability through international cooperation. It acts as a bank for central banks. What do central banks do? They manage countries' monetary systems and policies. They provide price stability. They adjust money supply, which affects interest rates. They regulate financial institutions. They supervise payment systems and improvements. They provide consumer protection laws, economic development activities. They are the lender of last resort. If any bank falls, central banks are the ones to bail them out. They also provide macroeconomic forecasting, large scale, global scale forecasting of what's coming, what's going on. So they have their eyes on the ball. They know what's happening right now. Central banks. And again, FedNow in 2023, they're working with the New York Fed, which is with Project Agora, partnering up with 4 other central banks worldwide. It's happening. And now I'm going to tie this all in further with XRP and Ripple. XRP being stated not as a security by Judge Torres. What does that mean? Well, for one, it has impact on other cases, such as the Binance case, the Coinbase case, as the SEC has gone after those exchanges aggressively. It will, being stated not a security, pretty much gets the SEC away from putting its hands on these digital assets, because these digital assets will no longer be under the jurisdiction of the SEC, which will be, it helps other digital assets that have been under fire, such as Solana and Matic. And another newsworthy, notable point here with Chris Larsen, one of the original founders of Ripple, donating $1 million in XRP to Kamala Harris, the PAC, the political part, structure that accepts money for the Kamala Harris campaign. It's a chess move, because it presses that political party to give clarity while the SEC is going through this with Ripple. How? Well, if Kamala Harris accepts that money, because remember, Chris Larsen did not donate $1 million. Chris Larsen donated $1 million in XRP. So if the Harris campaign accepts that, are they accepting securities? And how does that affect? It's a chess move. With this XRP not seen as not as a security by law, with the recent case decision, it further will give clarity. It further gives clarity right now that staking rewards, which is like pretty much like you could deposit your digital assets and lock them up to receive interest, staking rewards. It's difficult to state that staking rewards are securities. They're not. And this all goes back to the litmus test of securities, which is the Howey test. So decades ago, this farmer, Howie, went through a legal process to contest the fact that the oranges that were being sold by a farmer in order to upsell them to the market the oranges were not a security. And that's law. That case study has already been set, right? That's the precedent. That's what happened in the past. And so moving forward, when there's a case, you can take a look at past cases to reference them and gain clarity on how a case should be determined, right? And so in this case with Ripple, Ripple is the farmer, right? The exchanges are the middleman that is obtaining the XRP, the oranges from the farmer, in order to upsell at a gain by the market, by retail, which is us, right? So right now, the SEC is stating that, okay, we lost the case as far as XRP being a security when it comes to retail, but they're still going after exchanges, stating that XRP is a security when it comes to exchanges. But that's not the case if you look at history, legal history. So what Ripple has done is they've counter appealed. They filed a notice October 10th, which will then take it to a higher court, the Second Circuit, arguing that with what's going on, SEC lost the case on all points. XRP is not a security, whether dealing with retail or exchanges. And one notable thing is that the SEC requested a $2 billion fine in that case with Ripple that they lost. The judge said they only have to pay $125 million civil penalty. You have to know SEC lost the case on all points, which is why the SEC appealed. And Ripple filed a cross appeal to ensure that nothing is left on the table. I believe that the SEC could be left with zero payment fine at the end of this. If Ripple is successful in the cross appeal, they may be entitled to recover the costs from the opposing party, which is the SEC, and all the legal filing fees, which I would love to see. Drain the SEC of their funds because they've been mismanaging their power incredibly. This has gone long enough. As far as the video goes, I'm going to end it here. If you have any questions or comments, put it in the chat, put it in the comment section. Peace.